Due to some technical difficulties we experienced while recording, this episode may sound a little more disjointed, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Here we are tonight, episode 8. So we have Zach back from his sabbatical, I'd say. Hang on real quick. I'm an idiot and I left my beer over near my computer. I need to go grab it. All right. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I got it. There. You just heard it over.
Yep, I heard it. What are you drinking tonight, Kyle?
I have a... Ooh, it's foaming. It's a Pseudo-Sue. One of my favorite beers. It's out of a brewery called Toppling Goliath out of Decorah, Iowa. They have a very distinctive green and purple T-Rex on the can. It's delicious. I did some ice fishing. Ice is thick enough where you can just drive your car right out. But no luck. It did not catch a single thing.
Well, that really sucks. Sorry to hear that, Kyle. Was that supposed to be your dinner for the month? The fish that you caught?
If that's the way I lived, I would be a lot thinner than what I am. Don't worry. I was able to eat last night.
All right.
Alex, how about your weekend?
It was all right. I actually went to the casino down here in Columbus, one of them, and they've got an all-you-can-eat crab leg buffet on Friday night. So,
dude, that's great.
Yeah, and I tell you, there was an hour wait. Sounds stupid, but it was well worth it. And the guy that was dishing out the crab legs, that's just what he did nonstop. There was always a line, just nonstop.
Goodness.
But
how much does it cost to get into something like that?
It was $30, and if I could have found my my rewards card, it would have been like 27. But still, it was worth. I definitely ate that much plus more worth of crabs, so it's good. And then I lost 70 cents in slots for the whole night, so not bad.
Yeah, that's really not too shabby at all.
Nope, not at all.
Is that one of those Hollywood casinos?
Yep, same thing.
Oh, those are pretty nice. All right. Well, people aren't here to listen about our weekends, although our weekends are incredible. Yep. And Alex lives like a one percenter eating crab leg buffets. And then there's people like me who can't even catch their own food.
All right. Let's talk about the movie.
All right. Yeah, let's get subby, boys. Let's dive deeper. What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Second Floor Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, Alex the Thoughtful, Jamie the Brain, Kyle El Capitan, and Zach the Backbone present Submersion. Black Sea. So the opening scene to this movie immediately set me off, got me kind of upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, when Jude Law gets fired, the
yeah,
guy's
your
just like,
experiences of getting fired as a submarine captain for that salvage company?
Yeah, it was the worst.
Oh, man.
But then the
tore
guy
your family apart.
Wrecked my whole life. But the
sent you down a downward spiral that ended up getting you hosting a podcast instead. That's a mess. That's obviously not a good idea.
That is darn right.
Yeah.
But so the guy was just like, hey, by the way, we don't need a submarine, let alone a submarine captain.
Right.
I was like, who are you, man? This is a marine salvage company. Like, you need that.
I think I guess the idea was they had like robots doing it now or something. They didn't need someone like actually on a sub. They just use like remote submersibles or something like that.
I guess you could do that.
I don't know. I guess it's just another automation taking the job from the working man.
Thanks, robots.
Yeah. So he gets fired, and they very briefly show some like voiceover explaining that he's trying to search for a job, but he's just a mess. So like his answer to the thing, it's like, you were in the Navy for 10 years. Like, what happened there? And he's like, I had a disagreement. It's like, yeah, you're not getting that job. Right. Yeah, explain it better. I don't know.
You don't say that in an interview.
No.
You're kind of like, oh, I just needed to take some time away from it or something.
Yeah, I was taking too much time away from my family, and now I'm just focusing on that. Like, there's a bunch of answers you could give that's a lot better than we had disagreement End of sentence. I'm not talking anymore because I'm a crazy person. So anyways, he's like bumming around. He's drinking. He's like following his ex-wife and kid who he lost as a result of his job being,
Little
he's
bit
kind
of
of away.
stalking going on.
Yeah, a little bit of stalking. Just light stalking, really.
Yeah, nothing too serious.
No. I mean, Kyle does much worse than that most days, I think.
Yeah, most days.
So he's just like shooting the shit with his friends in a pub, and one of them kind of like off the cuff mentions, "Oh, by the way, like before I was fired, we went and did a job out in the Black Sea, and we met with the Republic of Georgia. In the Republic of Georgia, they had found Nazi gold, which is great. I mean,
Bum, bum, bum.
great plot point. So like they found Nazi gold, but because of a conflict with Russia, they couldn't get it. Russia couldn't get it, and we couldn't go down and get it because they had to work it all out before we could.
Right.
So it's just sitting there. And they had estimated it at that point at like $40 million or so, I guess.
Right. I don't know where they came up with that
I'm not sure where they came
number.
up with that because they even, yeah. So anyways, he decides, okay, we're going to get a crew together and we're going to go to an investor. So he gets with this investor that this guy, one of his friends knew, I guess. They go and get a meeting with a rich guy. Stereotypical rich guy. He's just a rich guy sitting there eating grapefruit or some shit.
In a mansion. It's
In a
pretty funny,
mansion.
though, when he's introduced because the guy who's like set up the meeting is like, all right, just do not ask him his
Yeah.
name. Do not ask him how much money he has to invest in this. And what's the first thing
Yeah.
Jude Law does? He just walks in. Hey, here's
What's your
so-and-so. He's
name?
like, what's your name? How much money do you have to
Yeah.
invest in this?
And so it's explained that he's going to give them like $180,000 for us to buy a submarine or to rent a submarine. I don't even buy a submarine. I don't know. Which seems real low.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, wow.
We definitely could start working towards getting our submarine if that's the
Right.
cost. I mean, I guess if
go
in the
to
end,
the-
if it's going to be a Russian one in Crimea, it may not be the best time to be doing that. But
But we could certainly
Yeah.
talk to a bank and
Yeah.
maybe see if they can put it as like a mortgage or something.
yeah, get a mortgage on our submarine. and so they decide, okay, we're going to get this crew together. And it's like a ragtag group. It's got to be half Russians, or at least a number of Russians, because it's going to be a Russian sub. So they're not going to know how to work it. But they're going to have these Russians to help them out, read charts, work the engine, like kind of the important things, because they're not going to know how to do sonar. Sonar guy has to be Russian. They're not going to know how to work the engine. Engine guy has to be Russian. And then the chart guy also has to be Russian for a variety of reasons. So like, they can be the captain, they can steer, they can help with or the recovery. I mean, the big part that the English people have is they're going to be the guys kind of diving, and they have a psychopath as the main diver. They're like, oh, who do you know that dives? Like, well, that guy, but he's a psychopath. Like, get him in there.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
everybody probably now recognizes him. He's been gaining a lot more popularity in recent years, but it's Ben Mendelsohn.
I don't even know who that is. Who was he?
He's in Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
He's like one of the main bad guys. He's also in the show Bloodline.
Okay.
And he's always playing a character that's very similar to who he is in this movie.
Yeah,
He's really good at
I
it.
recognize. I mean, there's some recognizable faces here, but a lot of them are kind of lower. I mean, Jude Law is obviously
Right.
the main guy. And so right before they leave, they're trying to get in contact with his friend who kind of set everything up. And then he's informed by this young guy that he actually killed himself. So he was on antidepressants. He had lost his job, and it was supposed to be, I guess, that he was going to get an insurance claim, life insurance. So, just to set up for his family and not do this risky job, he instead kills himself and whatever. And in the end, we're not really sure in the end, but you'll see why. We're not really sure in the end that was real or
Right.
true. But anyways, a young guy comes who says like, oh yeah, he used to help me out, and I was informed. So and part of that information was to also inform you. And he goes, they're now down a person on their crew. So he's like, come on board to this young guy who has no experience on a sub.
Right.
It's literally like if me or Kyle were asked to be on a sub, and we're like, okay.
But at least we've watched all these submarine movies.
Yeah, I didn't even. I'm not sure that's gonna help us.
No, not at all. So anyway,
So it's a rust bucket, a la a la
they
down
sh-
Periscope. I mean, it's a real down Periscope situation right now.
It is, because they show a picture of it, and it's just a rusted piece of shit.
Oh yeah, it's even shittier. And what's funny is like the bank guy's like, "You're not seriously gonna buy this," and he's like, "We're gonna sink." And then they have a really great line, which is like,
Boats are like old whores.
"Oh well, yeah."
The old ones know how to look after you best.
Yeah, and so, but then the guy's like, "It's gonna sink," and someone's like, "Oh, fucking useless if it don't." I like that line too.
Oh yeah, that is good.
Yeah, and then the other funny thing that happens during this whole fix 'em up scene is that the young guy is kind of carrying around mops and stuff, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm trying to find the windows to clean. I was told to clean the windows." Right. And they were like, there's no windows on a sub other than in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which we saw windows on.
Exactly.
Yep. They're like, no windows on a sub. And then he's like, well, what's the broom for? And the kid goes, And there's no chimney either, is there?
I would love that.
Yeah, it is some pretty
wood-burning
funny stuff.
fireplace on a sub.
Yeah.
But so this is
Yeah.
also, when we get into here, Jude Law informs the whole crew.
Yeah.
Here's the agreement with the financier, whatever. He's going to take, was it like 40% of 40
Yeah,
million?
40% of up to 40 million, 20% after that.
And by the way, we're splitting everything after, our cut, we're all splitting it evenly.
Yeah.
That becomes a big problem.
It does become a big problem, and it's interesting. It's interesting because, so in the end, that gives them about 2 million each, or somewhere around there.
Right, with the amount that they first somehow calculated.
Yeah. And so everyone's but it creates some tension. And the bank guy tries to explain why, although I'm not sure the bank guy's solution to it was much better. But he says, you need to give them a flat fee. And I think the main thing that the bank guy would have done is don't tell anyone else what they're getting. Like, the problem was he informed everyone at the same time that they're all getting even splits. Like, she should have negotiated separately and secretly and gotten some base fee for what they were doing. That way, no one could be like, you're getting paid more than me. Or like the same as me, even though you shouldn't, kind of stuff.
Right.
Like one of the things is like the young guy getting the same amount really sets off the Russians, and then the Russians getting the same amount sets off the Americans or the British, because the cost of living is so much different in the UK versus Russia. So they're getting way more than us comparatively, because they're going to go home to their shithole, as what they say, not my words, Donald Trump's words, really, And so it's a lot of tension. And the first way that they end up diving and they're going along, and there's just really mundane stuff. They hear a Russian battleship or something and they evade it.
It's very close to
yeah, they
them.
just turn off the things, it goes by, and then they turn it back on and keep on going. But the main thing that happens here is the Russians start to try to antagonize the young guy and try to get him to kill himself. Like, that's the idea. Is like, if you can get him to kill himself, that's more share for them.
And that's what the bank guy actually brought up earlier.
Right, that was the thing. Yeah.
And this is when I was like, ooh, this is going to take a dark turn.
It's going to get real juicy. Yeah.
People are going. What if people realize that the less people there are, the greater their share? It's like we talked about the serial killer sub movie.
Yeah. The only thing I don't understand is I like the thing he seemed to suggest you just give them all a flat fee, and unless they were going to go to the trouble of negotiating each individually, which, first of all, bank guy should have thought about that earlier than when they were on the sub. Like, if that was really his idea, you have to go through and ask Jude Law, like, how much are each of these people getting? Let's negotiate this now. Like, you can't just be, oh shit, you said they all get a flag. Like, of course he's going to say something at some point about how much they're going to get. Like, the instant he informs them they're getting Nazi gold, the first question out of everyone's mouth is, how much are we getting paid for this then?
Yep.
So, like, the bank guy was kind of yelling at Jude Law, but it's like, you had like a week or something to talk to Jude Law about this and get everything hammered out and tell him not to tell the crew, but like, you didn't, and that's your fault. So, like, fuck you.
It may sound like we're elaborating on this a lot, but they really bring it up a lot.
It is the biggest thing, biggest part
is.
of the movie in the end. You'd think it'd be evading someone or something, but this is a different type of sub movie.
Right.
It's a treasure hunting one.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And so, because they're trying to antagonize this young guy, they have him working in the engine room, and there's some Russians down there. And I was trying to pay close attention to what he was supposed to do down in the engine room, because they're pretty explicit. Like, if they say the word that starts with B, he's supposed to turn this certain knob to the right. If they say a word that starts with M, turn it to the left. I can't remember the words exactly because they're Russian, but like, it was B and then I thought he did the right thing. So I think it was like a scheme to make him angry, make him sad, and try to get him to kill himself. So because they say something, I thought it was the word that starts with B. The kid turns it to the right. That's the correct direction as I remember it.
Yeah.
And then it sprays the guy seemingly harmlessly in the face with some steam, and he gets all angry at the kid.
Yes.
But as a result...
Well, also during this time, so right before this, they found out that they're right on top of the U-boat.
Oh,
they need to go down.
Yeah, they're basically arrived, but
so they need to fix a generator before they can dive
right.
down
So that's
deeper.
what the Russian guy in the engine room is trying to fix it. So that's why we're kind of focused on the engine room at this point. Like, he's trying to fix that. So they're turning some things on and off, and the young guy does this thing and causes some issue. But then, like, the British guy who's having some issues with the Russians himself kind of comes in, and there's a tussle.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn. This is that guy.
Yeah, and so there's a little bit of a tussle down there, and it ends up resulting in an explosion, right?
Well, all right. So, but they have to pull fuel from the generator.
Yeah.
And they have it in these buckets sitting
buckets,
there. And Mendelsohn just walks down, and he's like, "Why are you guys always like picking on the kid?" And he ends up stabbing one of the dudes right in the chest.
Yeah.
And then he falls down, hits a bucket, goes in the generator. Huge explosion. So like sinks the whole freaking boat.
So the boat sinks, and we go way past crush depth. No, it's actually not true. They know that they didn't. They know that they must have landed on the ridge where that U-boat is, because they didn't go past crush depth. They're basically like, we'd be crushed right now if we had fallen to the bottom of the Black Sea. Instead, we must be on one of these two ridges. And so they do a little bit of sonar, and the sonar guy's like,
Well, this is after. So during this time, Jude Law is knocked out for like 18 hours.
oh yeah,
And then-
because the explosion, yeah, and the banker guy gets stabbed in the leg or gets hurt, his leg gets
Yeah.
stabbed, but it doesn't really come into to play.
But so now it's just
some
like
other
it's the
stuff.
Russians versus the British people. And
Yeah.
like the Russians have one half the sub, the Brits have the
Yeah.
other, and so they got to like mend ties, and eventually they're able to, and they get the sonar
this
guy.
one guy who kind of becomes the Russian hero, he's the guy who kind of comes over and is like, I can speak English, let's hammer this out.
Right.
And he kind of works with the sonar guy to figure out that they must be in one of two spots. Either they're right next to the sub, and the sub is what they're seeing, or they're on the other ridge near this tiny hill, and that's what they're mistaking
Right.
for the sub. And so Jude Law's like, well, we have a chance here. Like, either we're dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we can go over to that sub, which is similar to our sub, grab their drive shaft,
Yep.
fix our engine, and we can surface. And so everyone's like, well, we have to give it a shot because doing nothing is nothing. Like,
death.
he already destroyed the radio, which was kind of a interesting scene. Jude Law's like a crazy person. So they start arguing about money, and at one point he just destroys the radio. It's like,
Because somebody had a lottery ticket.
and knew that he had won. So it's
Yeah,
just
he's like,
like,
how did you know?
Better destroy this. The only way we're going to survive at some point.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Think we need to communicate with anybody? Hell no.
Yeah, it's like it is literally the most coincidental as you can be. It's like he won the lottery. Like, how much rarer of an event could you get for someone to destroy a radio?
It is a very weird thing.
Yeah, so then they're like, oh, we don't have enough people. Some people had died and stuff in the explosion. And I go, well, we do have enough. We do have the original two people that were going to dive, and we have the young kid who can go out as well. They have 3 dive suits, just enough oxygen to do one trip over there.
But somebody even brought up before they went over there, and Popular Mechanics actually like did an article on the science of this movie. They were like, "Isn't that drive shaft going to be like totally rusted and destroyed?"
They mention it in the
they're like, "Well, no, the Black Sea's anoxic, which means that there's no oxygen
Yeah.
like down here." And so Popular Mechanics said, "Is this possible?" And they said the Black Sea is a combination of fresh water and salt water. Because of the higher density, the salt water sinks to the bottom and remains mostly separate from the fresh water above. This means the air acquired through the waves on the surface can never make its way down to the salt water, so without oxygen, the deeper water serves as a natural preservative for metals. So it's totally
And they
correct.
even explain, they say like, oh, they found Roman ships down there perfectly preserved. So like, that's like way older. So why not the
Crazy.
submarine? And so they go out and the divers go out and they're kind of walking along and they find a hill and they're like, shit, we're screwed. Like, it was a hill. And all of a sudden he brushes away some mud. He's like, oh wait, no, it's sub. I was like,
It just like is perfectly on the swastika
Yeah.
on the side of the sub too. So like, all right, we got the right
yeah,
place.
fortunately for him, everyone on board hasn't killed themselves at that point. Right. They waited the extra 5 minutes to make, oh wait, no, it actually is a sub, my bad.
Yeah.
And so they hop on board, and of course they get the drive. He's like, get the drive shaft. So the young guy and the older guy, they're getting the drive shaft, and the crazy person walks on the sub and sees way more gold than they expected.
Yep.
It's like $180 million worth of gold rather than the $40 million. So
Yes.
like they would get so much money. So they start bringing the stuff back, and they've piled the gold in there. It's 4 tons of gold. And they're having a lot of trouble getting it over there because they're trying to drag it through the mud. And in the process, everyone's like, dump the gold. Mainly the banker guys, like, dump the gold. Like, this is too dangerous. Dump the gold. And kind of true to form, the older guy who's with him, gets knocked off the ridge and falls and dies.
Which is, I mean, I guess if that gold would have gone, well, you would have just lost the drive shaft. That would have been gone down the ridge too. And
So they would have died, yeah.
Yes. The banker guy is really telling him to dump the gold because he's like, I got to tell you something.
Yeah, so
I'm
they're
going to
arguing.
drop a bomb on you.
Yeah,
right
so they're
now,
arguing
bud.
about whether they should even bring the gold in. Let's just bring the drive shaft in, surface, leave that gold. That was stupid. But Jude Law is like, who's got his dick out right now? Is it you? Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's weird. I thought I had my dick out. I'm the captain.
And he looks down. He's like, oh, wait.
That's weird.
I totally do.
I do. My little British dick with a top hat and a monocle. That's mine. And
Does he have
so
a cane too?
yes. And then he's like, no, I'm the captain and I want to do it. And so the guy is like, I need to talk to you, and takes him into a different compartment. And it's basically like, this is all a giant ruse. Like, you are going to jail. Like,
Yeah.
this is all set up
basically,
by your old company.
your old company fired you. Somehow I don't know, got into your head.
Well,
That are gonna like, you're gonna get this gold, you're gonna surface, and you're immediately gonna be
it's
taken by the
super elaborate,
Russian fleet.
It's real elaborate because there's two people involved. They're basically like, we're going to fire this one dude, but first we're going to take him to the Black Sea, kind of plant that seed in his mind.
Right.
Then we're going to fire the captain, and he's going to go talk to his buddy, and then they're going to concoct the scheme, but we're going to put the banker as like a contact for the other guy, and that banker is going to make sure that when they surface, everyone gets arrested, and maritime law says that the company gets to keep the gold or whatever, and then split it with the Georgian government or something.
Wouldn't the banker get arrested too?
Yeah, but I think that would be a part, like,
They
he'd
could
probably
buy
be
him
a
out of
whistle.
it.
He'd be like a whistleblower or something. He was the guy that informed them that it was happening, blah, 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 all that stuff. So anyways, rightfully, everyone goes apeshit. I mean,
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna kill that
we
guy.
are literally going to kill that person. And Jude Law's like, he doesn't kill that person. He gives him like a belt to like lock himself in a room. Just he's like, if they get past me, maybe that will stop you from dying or whatever.
Yes.
But, you know, in the end, it basically breaks something in his brain. He's like, he just keeps on babbling about like, this is what they do. They you know, fuck the little person, these companies. They think they can walk all over us, blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, we're bringing that gold on board, and we're not just surfacing. We're gonna drive. I'm like, well, but wait, like we're gonna get arrested then. He's like, not if we go to Turkey.
Right.
So he's got this crazy scheme, which probably wouldn't work anyways, because probably they get arrested for driving a submarine to Turkey. Turkey would be like,
I don't know what the rules
Alrighty.
are on it. It's worth a shot, I guess.
it's a pretty tumultuous region. I'm not sure like anyone's going to take too kindly to a bunch of random British people with dead bodies on board, you know,
showing up
showing up and
Nazi
being
gold.
like, we got all this Nazi gold, take us in. They'd be like, oh, what the you know
there are
where
certain regions you can get
it's
away
like,
with.
you know, we're kind of allies with Russia. Like, anyways, they are not happy. I mean, he concocts a scheme, but everyone's a little bit on edge about it. But they're like, okay, we'll try it out.
Because there's like
There's
one
only-
way he wants to
yeah.
go. He's like, we can go this way, but he's like, what we need to do is avoid the shallows. Spoiler, they end up in the
They
shallows.
do not avoid that challenge. Yeah, and in one of the really weirdly unlucky turns, they're like, we're going to go to this one spot, and so they start driving along, and they have just enough people to drive the ship, and
Which they needed 9.
yeah, and the banker is like involved in this, and so the banker starts to plant the seeds of like, if we kill the engine guy, they'll have to surface. Like, there's no other choice.
And he's telling this to Mendelsohn.
Yeah,
He's already
Mendelsohn,
killed
yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah, he's like,
And so eventually
yeah,
he's
it's
just like
hey, killing
okay.
someone, yeah, I'm a serial killer. It's
He's
fine.
like, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny
Well, but
because
so like they're concocting the scheme, but at the same right before they like kind of follow through on it, because he's saying like there will be kind of one shot at this or whatever.
right.
And so as they're concocting the scheme, they realize the sonar guy's like stop, and they're really close to the shallows. And they look on the map and like, where are we? And they're like totally away from where they were supposed to be. They totally overshot it. And now they're kind of just near this canyon. It's going to be 8 hours or 4 hours or something to go back around. And it's too much time. They don't even have like enough oxygen or something to do. Oh, they'd have to like charge the batteries. They don't have enough on the batteries to be able to be underwater. So they have to surface and they get captured.
Or they can go through this super dangerous canyon that's
Yeah.
only like 100
100
meters
wide. There's submarines like 40 meters wide or something. Like, it's a crazy. At first I was like, 100 meters, that's not so bad. And then I was thinking about the submarine, like, holy shit. Like, that's so crazy.
Well, I mean, you're going blind. You're just going off sound.
Yeah. They're going off sounds. And so like, he's like, we're going to go down this thing. And of course the banker's like, you know, this is the time to do it. So anyways, they're going down this canyon and they start to rub against the edge and they're hitting this edge and the banker's like, oh, no, like we're going to die. We're crashing into the wall. Like, kill him now. So we have to surface. And they kill Mendelsohn goes over and just kills him.
Shanks him.
Yeah.
And this is kind of funny because now Mendelsohn and the banker go up to the bridge and they're like, oh my God, when we hit that wall, he
Yeah,
died.
he died. He totally
And
fell on a knife or something.
Nobody even for a second believed that. They're like, dude, you already
Yeah.
stabbed another guy to death.
Well, no, yeah, I guess
like you totally killed
He hit
that
him with
guy.
a wrench, but he hit him like
Oh,
a
yeah.
million times. It's like he totally hit his head. They'd look and be like, his head is caved in. Like,
Why is
he
it?
did not bump his head on the wall.
Why is your face covered in blood?
Yeah,
Why is
exactly.
all that
He
wrench?
was covered in blood. He's like, he hit his head. And he's like, okay. So not for 1 second till they believe him. Like, you killed him. We are not surfacing. We're going to keep him going. And one guy who kind of works like the electronics doesn't really know what's going on because the engine guy was killed and something was already going a little off. They had set something off to get the engine guy to come out of his like little engine hole. And so the guy doesn't know what's going on. He's like tapping these dials. He's like, I better fix this. And so he goes over and tries to fix it and causes a spark. And that spark lights
it
stuff
just
on
like
fire.
blows out a whole side of the sub.
and blows up the sub basically. So like they thought they were going to surface, but basically 5 seconds after killing the engine guy, the whole sub is totally fucked.
And this is when they finally go into crush depth.
Oh yeah, they go into crush depth. Everything is getting fucked. They're running around. They're trying to like save the sub, and everyone's down there. And the young guy gets hit in the head. So Jude Law, feeling like he needs to save this young guy, kind of drags him back into the torpedo. And we'll see why. He's like, I got to take this guy back to the torpedo hold. And you're kind of sitting there like, I wonder why he's...
That's a really long way to drag
That's
somebody.
weird. Why is he dragging him all the way back there? But in the end, you'll see why. And so everyone's back there. It becomes clear that it's going to flood. And so the banker, like the dick that he is,
Yep.
just closes it right up.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm going to lock all you guys in
Yeah,
here.
he's not even shouting like, come on, get out of there. He's just like, boop.
See you guys.
Yep, closes it. And then a couple other people are like, wait, what the fuck? And he closes it on. They got like another person. It goes to the next one. And then when he closes a third one, his like belt gets stuck in. And he closes it up, and his belt
This is
gets
ridiculous. He's totally stuck in here. But if your life depended on it, you can't like take your belt off.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it was his shirt or his pants. Whatever. If it was my
Just
life,
take it off.
Yeah. Who cares about your self-body image? Take it off.
Yeah.
Just go.
Well, but it's rule of a sub, right? He can't have his dick out, or else they'll think he's a captain.
Oh, that's
and then
true.
they're gonna stab him for mutiny.
Yeah.
So he dies either way.
I forgot about that.
That's just sub law.
It
That's
is.
why. That's why we're the experts here, to inform all of you about that law.
And so the Russian guy who
Yeah.
can speak English, like,
He sees
him,
this
he's
guy.
Like, he's like, help me! And he's like, nah, I think you locked like 30 people back there. Or,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
there's
not.
only like
I'm
9.
not feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes away. He locks the door.
I'm gonna do me.
Yeah.
And he drinks a Diet Coke, not a sponsor, and heads to the
Yes,
end of the hold.
not a sponsor yet.
And so he heads back, and so they're kind of sitting there, and he goes to Jude Law, and he's like, "Yeah, we're fucked. Like the whole thing is falling apart. We're gonna die."
We're the only ones
Yeah.
left. And Jude Law at this
Oh,
time,
we're gonna be wrapping out. We're pretty close to the end. This
We
is
are.
pretty good.
and Jude Law is like, oh, well, it just so happens that I have 3 escape suits.
Yeah, and that was
Wow,
like,
perfect.
And this is where the Russian guy's like, "You're a psycho. Like you
You
are
lied to us."
you are a horrible person because you only brought 3 escape suits and lied about it to everyone. You were going to use it for yourself
Right.
and this young guy and no one else." And you suck. And like, and Jude Law kind of sit there. It seems like he's like, yeah, you're probably right. So he gets them into their escape suits, torpedoes them out. Now, one thing they say is like, don't worry about me. I'm going to use one, and then I'll use the internal.
Oh, Jude Law does.
Yeah, I'm going to use the internal thing and shoot out after you guys. So like, don't worry about me. And they're like, okay. And so they go up, and the young guy's like, we got to wait for Jude Law. And the Russian guy's like, there's no internal escape thing.
He's not coming.
Now, what's weird is when I read Hunt for Red October, and we'll see if it's, probably they're not even going to do it in the movie because it's kind of a small part, but one of the Russian subs chasing Red October sinks, and only one person survives, and it's a cook because he climbs into one of the escape chutes like that.
Well, there are escape
and
tubes, but these
releases
are
himself.
torpedo tubes. So
Okay.
they said on this sub that there were
There were no escape tubes. Okay, so that's why, because the escape tube in that one had an internal thing, and you basically you shoot yourself out and then you reset it or something. Like you set it up in such a way that as you go out, it'll reset itself so the next person can jump
Right.
in. And
That was
be
one of the
shot out as
things
well.
with the age
Okay.
of this sub. They said there were no escape tubes.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Because it wouldn't make sense on a torpedo tube to have some kind of like lever or something in there. Or I'm sure,
Right, it wouldn't
I'm
make
sure as they
sense,
would
yeah.
say in Britain, a lever.
Right.
Because it might get snagged on something when it's shooting out.
I mean, I guess you'd think that maybe they would think like to have one of them have it and to be like safe about it. Because you think there would be a situation that maybe it would be useful to have like an internal one.
Right. This situation.
Certainly. I mean, we found that out.
And
So Jude Law is sitting there. He's thinking about his wife and kid on the beach and basically how they hate him
Yep.
for the most part.
And he's sitting there smoking a cigarette,
yep.
which is good because we see a lot of people smoking in subs.
Yeah, it's accurate. They are sitting outside, the young guy and the Russian guy, and all of a sudden a suit comes up. And
And
we've
like,
got some,
oh, here we go. And they swim on over to
Yeah.
it. It's
And
not
it's-
Jude Law.
it's some gold.
Oh, yeah.
Which they're probably going to get taken from them immediately when they get picked up by a Russian boat who is like, why do you have this fucking Nazi gold that has literally Nazi symbols on it?
Hey,
So-
when you get it to land, it's gonna be so heavy anyway. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's a real
shit.
it's a real dark movie, and they attempt to have this like nice ending. He's like, I'm gonna be reunited with the girl that I barely know that I impregnated. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to like the Hague and going to the International Court and going to jail. Like, that's what's happening here. So yeah, I don't know.
It's a movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off. Are we doing ratings out of subs again? 12 inches? Is that how we're doing this one?
Well, yeah, we've done the 10-inch. We go up to 10, but if then there's something that's like amazing, you'll give it that foot long.
Give it that extra foot long. Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm not coming close to that. I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
Really?
Pretty in line, with other critics online or other audiences that have watched this movie. Several things about it. It was just really annoying. I guess the difference is from like this one from everything else we've really watched. There's always like one captain that's in charge of everything. This just seems to be a whole bunch of civilians, and there's really no chain of command. It's just almost anarchy on the sub the whole time. And because of that, that's when I really feel like some of the characters get really annoying. And it's just, I that definitely takes into a part of their downfall, because a lot of these other movies that we're watching, yeah, mutinies sometimes do happen, but it's always the one character that pulls everything through, and they always have like a decent ending. And that's not the case here, because everyone's egos just all get in the way. So that was one thing that really frustrated me. And I guess the other thing that really kind of just tickled me the wrong way was just some of the little things, like the crush depth when I thought they were in a really shallow part of the Black Sea. Next thing you know, they're down in crush depth like over 300 meters. When they were actually going down to crush depth, you can hear them all start yelling and screaming like we thought all of their heads were going to explode. Then all of a sudden it just stopped, and they just, oh, okay, well, we made it, and now the ship's crumbling in on itself. We better go save it. And it just, everything when they started yelling and screaming just completely stopped. So I don't know. It was just little things like that just, I like to look at the little things for some of these things. And in this movie, I think it was trying to take a little bit more of a serious tone. I thought they could have done it a bit better.
All right. Yeah, I guess I didn't even consider that when they were going down to crush depth, because everybody was like, oh, my ears, the pressure. And then that did just seem to go away.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, they want to go hunting for gold, but it still doesn't even make sense why they tried to get him to go do it by firing him and then blackmailing his friend to go do it. I don't know. I wish they would have explained that more, but I just thought there was besides for them going to find it, there was no other motivation. It was just a weird story.
That part was odd, because, we also didn't get that he was really hard up for cash. I mean, we know he was just like only given $8,000 for his settlement, but you weren't, I guess maybe he did it because he wanted to give his family a better life.
Yeah, but his wife that had left him married some rich dude.
That's true.
It didn't really make him seem like he was strapped for cash or living a hard life at all.
No.
So, I don't know. It's just little things like that. I wish there was a little bit more backstory, too.
Okay.
So, that's why I'm giving it a 5.5. I mean, other than that, like, the underwater scenes were definitely pretty cool. And that, even though it was an older submarine they were on, I guess I looked at it, it's a Foxtrot class submarine.
Oh, hold on. Slow your roll there, bud.
Oh, is that what you're going to talk about? Because I got a fun fact.
Cool.
And you guys
Go
know,
for it.
And you guys know this. Several years ago, when I was out in California, I went to Long Beach, and I went on a submarine.
You went on the Foxtrot?
I went on the Foxtrot. That's what it was. You guys remember when I had that giant 4-shot glass or whatever, and it was called the Captain?
Yes.
That's where I got it from, off of this thing. It wasn't the
No.
I don't think it was the same one, but it was the same kind. So I've been in the Foxtrot, the same kind of submarine, this Foxtrot class.
That's flippin' awesome, dude.
Yep. So it was pretty tight. I don't remember. I remember I was ducking a lot, trying to crawl through everything, but I don't remember the layout. So I don't remember if like this one that they were filming on or whatever they were using to film on, I don't know if it was exactly like the one I was on or not.
Is that where you say your just intense burning love for submarines came from?
No, but it definitely added fuel to the fire.
No, it was.
I've always
it was
had a
going
love.
long before that.
Yes, it just added more to it. So, but other than that, yeah, I get, like I said, 5.5 for me.
I probably would sit it at around a 7, something
Okay.
like that. Just because I do think the acting was good. I liked the modern spin on the submarine movie, and it's one of those ones where it's a heist movie, right? Like, and we've talked
Right.
about the idea that most sub movies are kind of the same. Like from the World War era, it's like just a World War movies, and then we have a bunch of other Cold War movies, and we have some that are like kind of war games. Like those are kind of the three ones we've seen. Oh, and then theoretical submarines, like futuristic submarines.
Right.
But like there's
But
kind
those
of
are the
room.
futuristic ones are few and far in between.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of room in the world for some more genre submarine films, like a horror film or a serial killer film or like a
Yes.
whatever film. And this as being kind of a sadder, let's be realistic, a sadder version of a heist film. It was still a heist film. I mean, they could have. I
Yes.
mean, it could have ended very well for everyone, and then they are walking down the street in suits at the
Like
end,
driving
high-fiving.
Lambos
Yeah,
and-
exactly. Like, oh, we got that. Or like, yeah, in the end, they think they didn't get any gold, but lo and behold, another one. They're all sitting there in their escape suits, like, damn, and then like another escape suit pops up, and there's like enough gold, and they're all just like, oh, fucking yeah.
Here we go.
And so, they kind of survive. But this is at least a different genre, and I enjoyed that. I do think it was a little bit of a downer film, and I wasn't super into that. I like my films uplifting. It was at times tough to watch, and it's tough to watch people you don't like or kind of respect as the main characters. And Jude Law's character turned out to be kind of a rough going. I thought he was kind of terrible as a person and as
Right,
an
but his
actor.
you didn't like his acting?
No, his acting was good.
His acting was good.
But it's tough. Like it's similar. Like something like Breaking Bad. People are like, oh man, like anti-hero. I love this anti-hero. Like that. It doesn't do it. I mean, I'm not into like rooting for someone who's a bad person.
Right, I
and
gotcha.
in the end, it's pretty clear. You get a clear enough picture that he is a terrible person who ruined his own life and then ruined the life of like 12 other people. Mostly just to get revenge on his old company.
and the
And that's
last
terrible reason to do that. So like,
That is
yeah, it's tough for me to root for someone like that, and that's why I probably downgraded to like around a 7.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's kind of what I would like to see more of in submarine films,
Right.
doing something different. This is a very different submarine film than
It
the other
is.
ones we're gonna watch.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, how about you for your recap? What are you going to give this thing?
Well, this movie, I like this movie. It was an entertaining movie. I'd give it about a 6-inch on a 6-inch subscale. Or, wait a minute.
On a 12
on
inch?
out of a 12-inch. I liked it. I'll watch it once. I'll never watch it again. I didn't even realize it was Jude Law until after I looked it up. I liked Ben Mendelsohn because I like Ben Mendelsohn.
What else have you seen him in?
Ben Mendelsohn, I've also seen him in Rogue One,
Okay.
the TV show Bloodline on Netflix. Mm-hmm. He is also in another movie with Nicolas Cage. I think it's called Trespassers or Trespassing with Nicole Kidman. And he's going to be the bad guy in the upcoming Steven Spielberg movie, Ready Player One.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Anything you particularly liked, didn't like about it?
I thought the entire movie was pretty weird with Jude Law getting that 18-year-old boy on there. That was kind of weird.
He was really into him.
Yeah, like a lot. So there's that. And I thought it was really cool was when they were on the Nazi U-boat and they were like seeing the skeletons and talking about cannibalism, and then they actually found gold. I never even thought they'd actually find real gold when I first started watching it.
You thought it was just going to be a disaster the whole way through, like some pirates already came and took it.
Oh yeah, but it was there and it looked beautiful. So would I recommend this movie for a casual Sunday drive? Yes, I would.
For those of you who watch movies while you drive, like Zach, it's a great Sunday movie drive.
And that's all I got.
All right. For me, I'm going to rate this movie a little bit higher than you guys. I particularly like this movie. I'm giving it an 8.5.
Jeez.
Whoa.
I know you guys probably think that's a little high, but I loved the tension between the Russians and the British. I thought the acting was really well done in this movie. That's what a lot of people said online, is the acting outshined the plot. But I thought it was just great performances. Plot was all right. I mean, I know we've talked about it. Things didn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Why the heck is his old company setting him up? But I enjoyed watching this movie, a little more modern day cinematography and some of the other ones we've seen. I just really enjoyed it. I'd highly recommend checking it out. Not everybody's going to just love it because it is a disaster movie, but good action. Maybe not action, but tension between all the people on the sub. All right. So what do we want to go into next? What do you guys, what are you jazzed about? I got some trivia. Got the different subs to talk about. Alex, I don't know if you got any news or not.
Yeah, I got 2 quick articles I can actually do.
Let's do the news.
Yeah, I couldn't find any one that was really big or breaking that was long enough to take up a good section, but I found 2 really short ones that is actually kind of neat. So,
isn't it weird, just before we even start, how much news there is on submarines today?
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it's driven by this first article I'm going to be reading, but obviously everybody knows that there was an Argentinian military sub that went missing with 44 people on board, I don't know, a couple months ago, and everyone's been scrambling to try to help find this. So I found another news article that just came out, and it says, believe it or not, local police in Argentina actually raided the military compound or the naval base where this ship launched out of. And this was all given under orders by a local judge in the area because the judge thinks that the Argentinian Navy is hiding information from people. So
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly for sure how some judge has enough jurisdiction to order the police to go and raid a military
thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to see if there is any more information that comes out of it, but they said that this just happened. And it looks like it's part of the investigation into the disappearance of the sub here. And hopefully they're looking to see if that there's anything that could have been found. You know, some information that has come to light. I don't know if this was new or old to some people or not. But, you know, this ship or the submarine that went lost went through 2 different stages of upgrades, one in 2008 and one in 2014. And during this time, the sub was actually cut into 2 so they could make these changes for what they had to do. And
oh my God.
And during this, it changes the engines and batteries. And some of the local theories right now think that part of the explosion that they heard for this ship going missing was due to battery malfunction. So they're looking into the information from the previous upgrades to see if these batteries have any known issues or if this could have led to the explosion that ultimately sank the ship. I thought that was pretty strange that local police were invading a military base, but whatever, it happens. And then
that's really hardcore.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing has come of it yet, though, so we'll keep an eye on that for everyone listening. The next one, though, the USA Navy, they actually get their 6th Virginia-class submarine over in Hawaii right now. Have you talked about these kinds of subs before, the Virginia-class, Kyle?
No, I have not yet.
Okay, all right. Well, people will have something to look forward to at some point. But this is some of the newer subs, and right now in Pearl Harbor, where this one is going, they've got 20 total subs, and this is their 20th one that they're bringing over here, and it costs $2.7 billion to make. So looks like the U.S. Navy still staying pretty strong, keeping a presence in the Pacific Ocean, and this sub should definitely help them. I thought that was pretty neat that they're adding another one, and it's called USS Missouri.
Did they say, wait, are they building this, or is it like, why are they...
Nope, they just added another one.
Oh, why are they sending it over there? Did they say anything, or just...
I guess it was just supposed to go to the Pacific Fleet. It doesn't really say why or what they're going to be doing, obviously, but
interesting.
They said they've got 20 subs over there, and it's the largest concentration that they've had in the Pacific. So interesting.
Makes you wonder what's going on.
Yep, exactly. Keeping us safe. So those are my news articles for today.
All right.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Now, Zach, you were down in Argentina.
I spent a minute down there.
Yeah. What you got any special take on this whole sub situation?
Well,
being a tourist.
Being a tourist and the fact that I was there before the event even happened, I have a lot to say, Kyle.
Good. I'm glad.
My experience in Argentina is that a lot of the people are not too worried about submarines. In fact, I never heard anybody even mention the word submarine.
So that
while I was down there.
That wasn't part of like your, I always, when you go to a new country or something, you're supposed to learn some of the terms. You didn't learn the word submarine before you went?
I did not learn the term submarine before I left. We focused on food.
Oh, probably where to
I
find
did.
the bathroom.
I
or
did,
something?
however, yeah, el bathroom, and I did see a poster for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie because it was Tortugas
No
for
way.
turtles. Yeah,
It said Tortugas on it.
Tortugas. Yeah,
The Isle of Tortuga.
I didn't actually go see it though.
Wow. So the ad campaign did not work for you.
Nope. I chose to experience other things.
Oh. All right. Well,
Yeah.
tourist perspective of the Argentinian sub-crisis. Brought to you by Zach Watson. I think it's nuts when they're doing these repairs like you talked about, Alex. They're like, well, let's just cut it in half and work on it this way.
Yeah.
There's no way that'll compromise the integrity of the hull.
Right.
That's crazy. Zach, do you have Zach facts?
I do have Zach facts. Do you want some Zach facts?
Actually, hold on. We'll do those last. My trivia and subs worldwide kind of tie right in together, so it'll actually be kind of fun for you guys, I guess.
Oh, I am hoping to have some fun.
Ooh, cool. All right, so first trivia fact for this. It's kind of the lamest one. There's not a whole heck of a lot of trivia on this movie. So some of the shots for this movie, particularly in the Ukraine portion, were made possible because they were being shot on a Canon EOS C500, which is like a small handheld type camera, and the director and his cinematographer were going out scouting, looking for locations, and they just brought this with. And good thing they did, because they ran out of money, so they couldn't go back to Ukraine to shoot some of the scenes, which was kind of interesting. So they used this handheld camera, and they actually used the footage in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, well, how much is like this handheld camera? Because they kept really touting it, and he's like, how much does this thing cost? So I looked it up. It's like a $5,000 handheld camera. I'm like,
Dang.
all right, that's pretty expensive. Jude Law spent 3 days on a British submarine to prepare for his role in this movie.
No way.
Yes,
You kidding me?
not.
Ow.
That sounds like a Zach fact type thing, but that's
Yeah, we'll find that out later.
yeah, that's true. And so, filming for this movie took place in the River Medway, which is a river in southeast England. And the submarine that was used for the filming is called the Black Widow. It's an old Soviet sub for the Foxtrot class.
Ah.
Which brings me into subs worldwide. I figured, why the heck not talk about the Soviet Foxtrot class? So, these are diesel-electric patrol submarines. First one was built in 1957, and the last one was completed in 1983. By the time the last one was completed, these things were basically obsolete anyways.
Gosh.
Right? Wouldn't you hate it? You're like, we just built that, and we can't even really use it.
You know, there's some unlucky Russian captain that got one of these right when it was built, and he's so ticked off because he's like, there's better ones out there, but he gets stuck
Right.
with this thing.
Oh, gosh. She's like, I wish I would have screwed up in school and been held back a year. I would have got a better one. So this sub actually has 3 screws on the back, which makes it a lot noisier than what the Americans were building. And so, Alex, you were talking about when you were on the one, how you're like kind of ducking around. It's hard to remember the layout. With these submarines, 2 out of the 3 decks were dedicated to batteries.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Like, that's ridiculous. So, this gave the submarine an underwater endurance of 10 days, but due to the weight of the batteries, it slowed the average speed while it's submerged, 2 knots. Like,
Dang.
Wow.
crawling.
So that was pretty accurate to the movie, because in the movie, I think they were going like 2-3 knots underwater.
Yeah, he was going 3 for when they were trying to run quiet.
Yeah, okay. Jeez,
Yep, so
that is
pretty darn close.
That is crawling. Wow.
Yes, it is. And so, all right, so these are 294 foot long. They have 2 diesel engines on them, which are each they have 3 diesel engines, which are 2,000 horsepower apiece. They have 3 electric motors, 2 of which are 1,350 horsepower, and the other one's 2,700 horsepower. Max speed when surfaced, this is max speed, 16 knots. Max speed when submerged is 15. It has 10 torpedo tubes and 22 torpedoes on board. So something that was, this was kind of cracking me up when I was reading this. So we talked about them being obsolete. Russia made these subs, and for whatever reason, they gave one to Ukraine in 1997, and it hadn't been operational since 1991. So Ukraine was like, this thing sucks, and they tried to sell it in 2005, but they couldn't. Like, nobody wanted it. And so they decided, all right, it's time to repair it. And so they got it all repaired, and it was operational in 2013. But then Russian annexed the Crimea Peninsula in 2014 and got the sub back. But then they're like, we don't want it. Like, we already gave this away one time.
Yeah.
We don't want it anymore.
Those things were obsolete when they were still making them. And they don't want it 30 years later.
Just ridiculous.
Oh, man.
And
Man,
so, sorry, what are you saying?
I was going to say, that's crazy.
Right? Isn't that weird? You didn't hear about that when the whole, peninsula was annexed. You didn't hear about the Foxtrot class sub.
Yeah. I wonder if that was like a really big problem for like people over in Russia or Crimea, this issue with the sub. But for us over in the other side of the world, like, no one cares. So they probably just don't even bother mentioning it in the news. So that thing has 3 screws on it, huh?
Yeah.
Man.
Makes it loud.
That would make it real loud. Goodness.
All right, so something that I was thinking, because Jamie's not here, he's on vacation right now, but he's often asked a lot of like questions. Would you rather see these actors in this role? So Jude Law is the British actor. He was born in the 1970s. Now, tell me if you guys would have. These actors are all born in the 1970s, with one exception. They're all British. And no, it is not Ed Harris. It's different.
Okay.
So, all right, we'll just start. Tell me what you think. Would you guys have liked to see them better in Jude Law's role? So Jude Law was born, I want to say it's like 1972.
Okay.
Born in 1977, Tom Hardy.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I like him a lot. He'd be good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I say yes.
You would have liked him better than Jude Law?
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Born in 1979, James McAvoy.
Yes, I love that guy.
Man, he's good too. I don't know if he would be good in the main lead, but I could definitely see him in the movie as one of the other guys.
Okay. All right, yeah, maybe not necessarily even like Jude Law's role, but would you like to see this person in the movie, I guess?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. He would be great.
He's a definitely yes.
Yes.
Or maybe we should stick to just Jude Law's role. Who knows? All right. All right. Born in 1971, Ewan McGregor.
Oh, man.
Okay.
You're throwing some good ones at us. All right.
He's a definitely yes for me.
You think better than Jude Law, though, for this role?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Jude Law did really well. But
I like Ewan McGregor a lot, but I don't know if he would be good as a captain, though. I'd like to see him in the film. I'd like to see all of them in the film together. That would be really great. No, not as Jude Law's character, no.
okay. All right. Born in 1970, Warwick Davis.
No.
Willow himself.
You can hear Zach Googling it right now.
Yeah, he's like, who is Warwick
I
Davis?
had to real quick, and I know exactly who he is, and I'm gonna say yes.
All right. And for people who don't know who he is out there, he is, isn't he Mini-Me?
No, he's not Mini-Me.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. He played the Leprechaun for the Leprechaun movies and Willow in Willow.
Okay. Anyways, one of those.
Yeah, it's not Mini-Me.
Okay, one of the short guys then, but yeah, I know exactly who that is. Nope.
No?
No.
All right. And then this guy was not born in the 70s, but he would have been alive at the time of filming. Now, Captain's role, Alan Rickman.
God, yes.
No. I don't think so. I don't think he'd be good.
No?
No.
I think it would have been sweet. Way better than Jude Law.
All right. We got differences all over the place.
Yeah, what about you? You didn't say anything for what you thought. Who do you think?
I thought Jude Law did a really great job.
You wouldn't replace any of them at all?
I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. Because he just had some of those scenes like where he's holding the gun at the guy and he's just got these like dead eyes that I'm like, wow, he like literally looks crazy right there, which is what he wants you to think. So it's like he's doing really great. I don't know. I don't know if I would have replaced him at all.
Okay.
But would I have liked to seen these other guys in the movie? Yeah, they would have been great in the movie.
For sure.
It would have been insane to have a weird star-studded cast for a submarine movie, but I would have enjoyed it.
Well, some of the movies we got coming out do have some big names in it, though. So.
Oh, yes, they do.
But not a big star-studded cast like this one. But man.
Yeah, Jude Law, Tom Hardy, James McAvoy, Ewan McGregor, Warwick Davis, and Alan Rickman as the sonar guy. Like, what?
His last project.
Oh, man.
So, I think it's time to take this thing.
Oh, wait, I have. Which one are we doing? Are we
You
doing?
want to take it to the Phantom Zone?
Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
here we
Engage
go.
the Phantom. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because next episode's going to be, spoiler alert, it's going to be K-19, but they both share some similarities. So
Ooh,
it's actually,
perfect.
yeah, so
That had to make it nice for your homework then, huh?
yeah, I made it real easy, especially since, I kind of did this last minute. But yeah, so we have Jude Law in this film, right?
Yes.
So Jude Law is in a little film called Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. Have you ever heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
So it's kind of a stylized war movie, and in it he flies a plane, and that plane happens to also be a submarine.
No
So
way.
at some point, at one point it dives into the ocean, loses its wings, and becomes a submarine.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they even have things online about how it was designed for the movie to be such. How do they design the submarine that's also a plane? Like blah, 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 blah. So I don't think it's a major part of it, almost like in Batman, which one? Batman Forever. There's a bat plane becomes a
yeah.
submarine. And for 1 second, for like literally 5 seconds, they're like, oh man, it's a Batman submarine. And then the Batman submarine gets like exploded by a mine. And they're like, damn. And I was like, whoa, that was literally 5 seconds of a submarine. Oh, and he shoots out as a torpedo, Batman. And then it
that's right.
explodes. Yeah. It's
Like,
so
how much
stupid.
was invested in that scene for 5 seconds to blow it up?
It is terrible. But so this is somewhat similar, I think. I've actually haven't seen the film, but anyways, it's one that gets a submarine mark on IMDb, so I count it.
Perfect.
Yep. And in that film is Michael Gambon, and Michael Gambon is the narrator in Hail Caesar.
Oh.
And we all know how this one goes as we go from Hail Caesar, which we used for Agent Red.
Yes.
We can go straight from there all the way through. So
Wow.
it's a very easy jump this time. Sky
That's
Captain,
crazy.
Hail Caesar. Yeah. And so that was an easy Phantom Zone. Although
kidding.
I think the thing is I keep on building on each of these movies to the point where if I really wrote this one down, there might be like 18 films connecting all the way to Phantom in the end.
There probably would be.
Because each time I'm kind of entering into a previous one I've done.
That's
That
true.
also enters into another one I've done. That enters into another one that I've done. Kind of.
If it works, it works.
It works.
Frickin' Ed Harris.
Yeah. All the way through.
Zach, do you have Zach facts for us?
I do have some Zach facts for all those Zach Fact fans. Cue the music.
Beep pop squeak da 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 da. Zach facts.
All right. Thanks for that. Zach Facts for the movie Black Sea. 2014 British America disaster thriller directed by Kevin MacDonald. Zach Facts. Okay. Director Kevin MacDonald wanted all his earnings to be delivered to him via a submarine. However, on its way to delivery, it began taking on water and sank. Fact.
Was he also paid in gold bars?
That I don't know.
Darn it.
Why on a submarine does he live on an island?
I could not find out where he lived.
He doesn't have like a fan club mail address or anything like that.
They're going to mail all of his earnings to his fans. Okay. Fact number 2. Originally, the gold was supposed to be real in the movie. However, due to the nature of the film, the director decided to go against this. Fact.
Still was all prop gold.
Yeah, yep. It's all fake.
You could definitely tell. Nobody even bit into it.
Well, we saw one guy kissing it.
He kissed it, but he didn't bite it. Aren't you supposed to bite it?
I think so. But he kissed it, and then he put it in the torpedo tube. Or was he taking that out? I think
He was taking it out.
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing. But, interesting. Okay. Fake gold. All right.
Fact number 3. The opening cinematics cost roughly $39 million before taxes. Fact.
That's just like the old footage of like Nazis and the boats. I guess rights are expensive, right?
Yeah, PBS was running low on free stuff they give out to people. So
Yeah.
they charged them.
Brought to you by viewers like you and Kevin McDonald in the movie Black Sea.
All right, here's a good one. Hold on to me while I read this fact, boys.
All right.
Before Jude Law was cast as the lead, there were talks with Ed Harris to play the son of his character in Phantom. However, he would have appeared too old. Fact.
So Jude Law was going to be Ed Harris's son.
Yeah, originally.
I thought it was a daughter at the end of Phantom.
Hell. Sometimes I get my facts wrong, and I'll admit that.
I would have loved that. The end of that movie when Fichtner's like walking Ed Harris's wife to the sub, and it's just like, wait, is that Jude Law on her arm? What is going on?
All right. Got a couple left. Fact. There were talks of a prequel called Blackie Seas, which would focus on the character Blackie. However, this idea was dropped.
Why was his name Blackie? He was the friend, right, at the beginning, the one Russian guy at the bar.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Was he the one who got stabbed and shot?
Yeah, he was the one that stabbed and then burned, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's not shot. Nobody got shot. Okay. Yeah, why was that his name?
I don't know. They never did describe that.
Hence why we needed that prequel, but
We'll never know.
We'll never know now.
we will never know.
It's the worst.
Oh,
There's
man.
also a guy in The Hunt for Red October who's named Blackie. I was like, you probably shouldn't be doing this in these books or movies.
Different times, man. Different
Different
times.
Like 2014 this movie was made. It's like 4 years ago. Probably even closer to 3.5.
I don't know. Is that like a famous Russian name, though? Like Blackie? Or like a popular one?
You Google it. See what comes up.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Here's another Zach fact. The Russians were not actors and were not told this was a movie. Fact.
So they really wanted to kill this poor 18-year-old
Yeah.
because they thought he was a virgin.
Yep.
Oh my God. And then when he like turns the valve wrong and sprays him with exhaust, he's just like, "What the hell did you just do?" They take over half the sub. They got to rewrite parts of the movie to get it to work out. They're like, "This is solid gold. Thank you guys."
Okay, here's the last Zach fact. And to our listeners out there, you might have to fact check this yourself with some trivia that Kyle gave us earlier.
Ooh.
Jude Law was going to spend 365 days in a submarine to prepare for this role. However, he stopped after 2 hours. Fact.
Oh, man.
So which one's telling the truth?
So which one's the fact? Fact or crap?
Oh, man.
Can you imagine just like gearing up, telling all your buddies, what are you doing? Well, I'm prepping for this role. I'm going to go stay in a submarine for a whole year.
Right. 2 hours later.
You show up at the bar that night. So what happened? No, I don't want to talk about it.
And there you go for Zach Facts.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for them Zach facts. So, I mean, what do you guys think? I think you guys say you recommend it, but I don't think you guys would watch it again.
Oh, I'd probably watch it again. But yeah, I mean, I'd recommend all of these sub movies to enthusiasts.
Even Agent Red.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's to like bad movie enthusiasts.
You know, it's really funny. I was actually talking to somebody else about this podcast, and I mentioned that we had done this Dolph Lundgren movie, and that it was really bad. And the guy immediately said, "Oh, was that Agent Red?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I've seen that years ago." Like I guess people out there actually know about it, but they never talk about it. So,
because they're part of like this secret society, and they want to know if you're in on it.
Right. He might have been a big Dolph Lundgren fan, too. You never know.
He's just got a shirt on underneath says, "Don't screw with Dolph."
Oh, man.
My
All right.
God.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Why not?
I think
recommend it.
I think it's good. I enjoyed it. I like the tension a heck of a lot better. I mean, you guys liked Hostile Waters. I was not a fan, but
Yeah, I mean, that one had a lot of tension, too, right? But
it was more situational.
yeah, like with actual captains and mutiny and stuff. This was just like...
No, remember they were going to do the mutiny, but they never did.
Right. But that was like military stuff, though. This is just like a bunch of gold diggers just like fighting with each other.
That should have been the theme song.
Yeah, that would have been a good Zach fact, Zach. Missed on that one.
I did miss. Whiff. Well, that's all I got, guys.
All right. I think that's about it, unless you guys got anything else.
Well, that's it for this week. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening to Submersion. Find us on SoundCloud and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.